Hey everybody, how's it going? I thought since I've got the Deathwing army still to finish, I haven't touched it paintings wise in over probably a week and a half. Um, I thought I'd talk about Terminators though. Not specifically a Deathwing video, but I helped lead up to that. Talking about Terminator special weapon upgrades, um, meaning the ones for the shooting squads. If you're not Deathwing, then you have to take these in your shooting squads. And you're probably asking, what about Wolf Guard Terminators? Everything I say about Terminators has nothing to do with the Wolf Guard Terminators. The reason being is Wolf Guard Terminators are highly unique in the fact that you can equip them almost any way you want, because the Space Rules do not follow the Codex Astartes in terms of weapon loadouts. Even the Dark Angels follow the Codex Astartes in terms of weapons loadouts. They are deviant, if you want to call it that, or they vert in a couple of ways. Having first company all Terminators and second company all bikes and land speeders, but still the weapon loadouts is the same. It's all Codex essentially weapon loadouts. Space Wolves do not do that. Therefore, Space Wolves can really mix and match their weapons. Therefore, not really subject to the talk here. But for everybody else. And also Chaos obviously has different weapon loadouts. I'm talking about Imperial Terminators. For everybody else, it's a shooting squad upgrade. You have 3 weapons you can take: Heavy Flamer, Cyclone Missile Launcher, and Assault Cannon. Excuse me. Now, depending on what you're going to do with your squad will dictate which one you take. I will say, in 4th edition, it was pretty much Assault Cannon everywhere. And that's changed. Not only because the assault cannons are made more balanced, but also, the Cyclone Missile Launcher got a little bit of a facelift, and the fact that the style of play is a little different than it was in the previous edition and all that jazz. So let's start with the Heavy Flamer, probably the least taken upgrade in shooting Terminator squads, because it's a template weapon, strength 5, AP4 template weapon. It's a great weapon. Before Stern Guard, pretty much the only way to take Heavy Flamers in Space Marine Army was Terminators or Dreadnoughts. So, and I guess the Battle Predator. So, here we are with the Terminator Heavy Flamer. A great weapon, very short range because it's a template weapon only. But that being said, it has its advantages. One of them being lots of hits. If the squad is tight together, you're gonna hit almost everybody, and they can even be a little bit spread out, and you still hit a few depending on your placement. So, if you have a squad of 10 guys you're facing down with a shooting squad, you unload with the everything pretty much. So that's 8 shots from your Storm Bolters, and the rest if you have a 5-man squad, and then you have this Heavy Flamer putting out a template, which can potentially cover all 10 guys. So tons of woundage possibility here, and unless you're facing power armor or better, you're gonna bypass the armor, and if they're in cover, too bad, no cover stays allowed from the template weapon. So very nice. It's great for softening something up for the charge. Now, one thing that people don't do a lot with shooting Terminators is charge with them. And you got your shooting weapons, you want to make good use of that. You don't want to just charge in all recklessly with your shooting Terminators, but you got a power weapon for the Sergeant, and you got Power Fist Standard. You got the means to put the hurt on people. Now, of course, if you're going up against a lot of initiative power weapons and stuff like that, not the best idea. You have to be a little bit more careful with the squad and going up against certain things. But if you want to shoot and you want to assault, the shooting Terminator is the way to go, because you can shoot everything and then clean up the mess with your power fists and power swords everywhere. Again, you have to be careful. They're great for charging vehicles, preferably not walkers because they can attack back unless it's a sentinel or something. They're great for charging vehicles. If you have the Heavy Flamer in that squad, you can really cook into a horde type of thing. Not the best approach, but you can really cook into like a guardsman squad and then finish off what's left for sure. Things like that. So that's the Heavy Flamer. That's what it does. And definitely it's great because definitely you can have the Heavy Flamer mixed in with an assault squad. So you have a heavy flamer power fist, which is the way it comes, unless you upgrade the power fist with chain fist. But anyway, you can have a heavy flamer guy with the power fist in the squad of 4 assault terminators, and you can get up close and personal via transport or something, cook them with the heavy flamer, and charge in. It's very nice. But that's the heavy flamer. Reason being is usually not taking that much, short range. So the second weapon to talk about is the Cyclone missile launcher. One of my favorite Terminator weapon upgrades. The Cyclone missile launcher can be taken, it's taken in addition. It's taken in a shooting squad, so it's taken in addition to what you have. It's not in place of. Like the heavy flamer replaces the Stormbolter. The Cyclone missile launcher goes on top of the Stormbolter power fist weapon loadout already. And, if memory serves correctly, you can shoot both weapons. I know the Deathwing can, I'm pretty sure all the Spaceman Terminators can as well. So that's nice. What it does is it ups the amount of shots you get by 1 if you're Black Templars or Dark Angels, and by 2 if you're everybody else, because since the generic Space Marine cutters came out, the Cyclone missile launcher got 2 missile launcher shots, and that's all it is. It's a missile launcher with a fancy name. But don't let that try and keep you away from it, because the missile launcher is probably the most versatile weapon the Space Marines will ever have so far. With the frag missile or the crack missile, you have abilities to deal with horde, to deal with tanks, to deal with heavy infantry, to deal with light infantry, to deal with pretty much most anything that's going to be on that table in one way or another. Pretty much my rule of thumb is, if you aren't sure what weapon to take and you can take a missile launcher, take a missile launcher. That's just my little motto, if you will. But it's very nice on the Terminators. It gives Terminators the ability to reach out and touch someone at a longer distance than 24 inches. And for those of you that can shoot twice, that's also very nice as well, because extra shots mean you got a chance of hitting better, and then if you hit with both, better chance of wounding and all that. With this type of squad, you're going to be hunting more specific things. You're going to be shooting into the dedicated transport, probably. Targeting hordes with the frag missiles at longer ranges than you would with a Stormbolter. So you can start peppering horde squads of Termagants, Hormagants, Orc Warriors, even Guardsman squads at longer ranges. One thing to be careful about with the Cyclone missile launcher is you don't want to always shoot at its max range, because then you're going to have a squad of wasted shots, basically. But it's good to start picking things off early with it, and then as you get closer in, you can really lay the weight of fire down with the rest of the squad. It's not meant to be like suppressive fire like the assault cannon is. It's meant to target specific things for destruction. Vehicles, walkers. It can glance armor 14, so it always has a shot at something like that with a crack missile. It can wound anything that's on the table, even though it might need 6s against toughness 10. Although I can't think of anything toughness 10 that's not Apocalypse. So. It punches through all but the thickest armor. It's AP3, the crack missile, so strength 8 AP3. So that's a very good shot. You can, if you can catch an independent character out in the open, you hit and wound them with it, and they succeed, they're pretty much gone unless they're an Internal Warrior or toughness 5 base. So, very nice. The frag missiles, of course, gets you lots of wounds as well. So really, although you're increasing your shots by 1 or 2, depending on what you have, it all depends on missile shot that you use, the ammo you use for that shooting phase, and what you're targeting. Because you have the potential to get that 1 extra shot if you're using a crack missile, or the potential to get 3 or 4 shots out of that 1 shot, or 3 or 4 hits out of that 1 shot with the frag missile. And if you're Deathwing, you can put that on top of any Terminator. So I have it right here on top of Twin Lightning Claws for the pre-RC Deathwing guys. I know I said I'm not talking about Wolfguard, but Wolfguard, same things kind of applies in terms of weapons and stuff you can take. Say the same Cyclone missile launcher as the generic Space Marine Codex and all that. Lastly up, if that's the correct way to say that, is the assault cannon. Probably the most numerous weapon option taken. If that's, I think I butchered that sentence, but you know what I mean. It's probably the most well-known and the most taken Terminator upgrade for shooting squads. The assault cannon was the go-to weapon in 4th edition. It's still good now. People go rendings, nerf, rendings, nerf, rendings, nerfed, and I say stop whining, stop whining, stop whining. Rending is more balanced now. It was over the top in the previous edition, in my opinion. So it's 4 shots, strength 6, AP 4, rending. So it can wound anything pretty much with the rending, and it has the potential to pen armor 14 if you roll well. Don't rely on it, but it has the potential. So that's the assault cannon in a nutshell. It's 24-inch range, which means it's going to be right there with the storm bolters. Once you can fire with storm bolters, you can fire with the assault cannon. It's great for laying down essentially suppressive fire. I mean, it has no rules for that per se, but just the way to fire it lends to a squad. It really makes a squad dangerous. If you have a 5-man squad, you have 8 shots from the other storm bolters, and then you get 4 more, so you have a total of 12 shots. It's a net gain of 2 from having just a 5th storm bolter, and it's always going to be 4 shots from the assault cannon. That's its strength and its weakness. It has no blast template or no template type of weapon like the heavy flame or the cyclone missile launchers, so it's, you always can get 4 hits even on one guy. If it's a template weapon or blast template, it's going to be 1 hit on one guy, but with the 4 shots, if it's against one person, it has potential to do all 4 of its hits on that one person. The drawback is against Horde, it's only going to do a max 4 hits and wounds because it doesn't have blast, so it all depends on what you're going for there. I believe it's the most expensive weapon upgrade for the Terminators, but is also the go-to weapon upgrade for most Terminator squads that I see, because unless you're going assault, of course, because it's a pretty versatile weapon. With that strength of 6, it can hurt a lot of things on the table, infantry-wise, with the toughness score. Pretty much anything. There's not much above toughness 6 out there these days, and it can deal with light vehicles like rhinos, and it can pretty much pen armor 12, because if you roll 6, you rend. So you roll again, and it makes you do 13 at minimum, so you're gonna pen armor 12. You can pen armor 14, like I said, but I'm just saying on an easier thing, you can pen armor 12 pretty well as long as you roll a 6. So I would say all of the armor 12 it can deal with reasonably well, and that's what makes it pretty versatile. It helps it if there's nothing else to shoot, you can chew into vehicle armor, hopefully doing something there. If a vehicle gets popped in front of them, the entire squad can lay waste with their stone bolters and assault cannons, and that is part of what makes Terminator armies like Deathwing pretty tough to deal with, is the torrent of fire, and the assault cannon is probably the poster child of that for the Terminators. So that's all 3 weapon options. Obviously, I'm not going over which one's better. It all depends on your playstyle and what your tactic is. Have I seen heavy flamers on shooting squads? Yes. It's very rare to see it locally where I am, but I have seen it done and used well. I've seen assault cannons and they weren't used too well. I've seen the full gambit. So I will say, in terms of least popular to most popular weapon option, it goes heavy flamers at least, a cyclone missile launcher, and assault cannon. Although cyclone missile launcher is getting a lot more looking at because of mechanized being very popular, at least locally, and getting 2 shots in the newer codices for Space Marines. But still, I think the assault cannon ekes it out for most used weapon upgrade for shooting squads. So that's pretty much it. Hope you enjoyed that little lecture, and whenever I make progress in painting, which probably won't be till the weekend, hopefully, and hopefully I will make progress this weekend, I'll of course do a video to show you that. So until next time, take it easy.